7 quick tips on how to be cunning like Kiyotaka Ayanokoji. Deceive with your appearance. The appearance you present to others is essential to deceiving other people, which is why you should always be aware of how others perceive you. You have to realize that humans unconsciously make snap judgments when looking at someone, and you can easily deceive them since most people do not think deeply about the hidden aspects of a person. Your appearance includes your facial expressions, body language, the behavior you display, and physical looks. Whether you like it or not, this will give people a certain impression of who you are. Even though it may be inaccurate, you can use this to your advantage. For example, Ayanokoji has a calm and bland demeanor as part of his appearance, which helps him in appearing average and also allows his cunning plans to go unnoticed by most people. This is just one way of using your appearance. You could use your appearance to cause people to underestimate you or trick people into thinking that you're a friendly person. Whatever appearance you choose to adopt, it will ultimately help in deceiving people on who you are. Consider true intentions. Cunningness requires you to perceive things that most people will not notice and being able to use that information to your advantage, which is why you should always be aware of the true motives of other people. You have to realize that people will often tell lies or hide certain information from you. It happens way more often than you might think, which is why you should never assume that somebody is telling you the truth. You should find supporting evidence or make multiple observations to deduce to an accurate conclusion. For example, if somebody says they want to become friends with you, don't just assume they have good intentions. Question why would they want to do that in the first place and observe them over a longer period of time. The reason you want to do this is because taking your time to analyze them will give you a more accurate understanding of the individual, essentially making you more perceptive. And realize that you can't be perceptive if you're always jumping to conclusions. Once you see their true intentions, you can easily use it to your advantage, such as anticipating what they will do next or using their own desires to manipulate them. Use their weakness. The weakness of another person is not actually beneficial until you actually use it to your advantage, which is why you should be thinking about how you can use this information to benefit you in some way. For instance, if you know that somebody is hot-headed, you can potentially incite them into doing a violent action. Or if you know that somebody is in psychological pain, you could take this opportunity to comfort them and gain their trust. These are things to consider whenever you discover a weakness, and when you actually think about how you can utilize them, you will realize that you can easily push them into doing certain actions. Remember, learning a weakness is important, but true cunningness means you can actually use this weakness to further your own goals. Develop a poker face. While it is important to psychologically read people, you should be able to prevent others from reading you as well. You do not want people to see your true emotions when you're manipulating and deceiving. So one thing that you can do to prevent others from reading you is by mastering the poker face. The first step in maintaining a poker face is by developing self-control. You can do this by identifying the feelings within your mind, such as joy, anger, and fear. This will give you self-awareness and will make it easier to mentally stop yourself from expressing emotions. And when you're able to keep a blank neutral expression, people will have a hard time analyzing you. Keep in mind that you don't have to keep a poker face all the time. It is best to use it in situations when you don't want to give too much psychological information away. Avoid unnecessary conflict. One aspect of being cunning is staying out of the spotlight and avoiding actions that will lead to detrimental consequences. This includes getting into conflicts that don't benefit you in any way. Whenever you think about taking a specific action, consider if it's actually getting you closer to a specific goal. If it doesn't, then you should not do it in the first place. For example, openly insulting someone is usually unnecessary. You're just creating hostility and unnecessary attention to yourself, which ultimately leads to more problems you have to deal with. Realize that you cannot be cunning if you're always getting into useless conflicts with other people. You have to be strategic and calculating on when to engage certain individuals. You simply need to take the time to think about the consequences of your actions and not act on your impulses like most people do. Never be too trusting. Blindly trusting someone is simply naive, especially if you don't have enough information on the individual. Realize that this is a weakness that will make you an easy target to exploit, simply because you're not analyzing them, and your ignorance makes you unable to see their true character. In order to stop yourself from trusting people too much, you have to train yourself to be more skeptical, which means you have to be constantly questioning everything they're doing. Consider what they may be hiding, or anything that seems suspicious. For example, a person who's flattering you may be trying to get closer to you in order to manipulate you later on. By considering possibilities like this, you will develop a ruthless self-preservation mindset, which essentially lets you stop anyone from taking advantage of you. Hide your abilities. There's a significant disadvantage in showing off your abilities which many people are not aware of. Firstly, when a person feels that you are better than them, they may see you as a threat and become more cautious, which is not ideal for your cunning plans. The ideal situation is where they feel smarter and better than you, and when they get this feeling of superiority, they will let their guard down and not think that you're capable of outsmarting them. You can easily get this result by simply not revealing the exceptional skills that you have. You can also pretend to be ignorant and unremarkable as well. Remember that it's usually unfavorable to reveal excessive amounts of information. The less they know about your capabilities, the easier it is to outsmart them. Thanks for watching VevenSeven.